cringiest, like I guess we did, kind of rolls into favorite quotes, like all of it together. I mean, that's just the beauty of the show. It's just the like every moment has the potential to be either like just like watching a car crash in slow motion, like watching where I'm about to crack up. Like it just gets crazy.
Yeah, I can kick off our like a quick favorite moment. So the both of these happen in finales. So the boat scene with the siblings, and then in that's in season one at Shiv's the night before Shiv's wedding, and then at the in the season three finale when Kendall finally breaks down and tells them about the kid. And I only say that because they're like maybe the only two moments where they're actually nice to each other. On the boat in season two, they have that moment where Kendall's like, "Can we just like be human beings and like talk to each other?" And they're all like, "Oh,
That
he's
was
being
Roman who
serious."
said that.
Oh, Roman. Oh, yeah, because he was fucked up from that whole like being
Yeah, yeah.
taken prisoner. Yeah, but either way, very few and far between moments where they're actually acting like siblings, and I love that shit. So those are my favorites. Wish there were more, but it wouldn't be the show if there were. So
Very fair. I would agree with that. I'm very pro sibling moments. It's just like it's a good reminder of like I feel like for me when I watch them, it just like takes me back to like thinking about them as kids and what that was like for them being kids together. I think that would I don't like want like a spinoff show or anything. I just think that's like would be some interesting things to actually see. But I mean, it's just Greg and Tom. There's just something about the two, and they have a lot of bad moments that I don't like. But like when Greg is like trying to explain to Tom in season two that he has principles, and Tom is like, "You don't fucking have principles. Like, shut the fuck up, Greg." Like just things like that is just so funny. But a singular moment I will pick out is definitely Greg telling Kendall at the wedding before Kendall goes off and does his terrible deed that he has the documents and that it would be wise to keep him around. And Kendall's like, Greg, the motherfucking egg. He's like, I love it, you little Machiavellian fuck. And then he just walks away. That I think is probably, that has to be, I think, my favorite moment.
I love that. It's kind of like when Kendall turns on Logan in the season two finale at the press conference, and you see like a glimmer of pride in
Yes.
Logan's eyes. This family like is like trying to win, but they like always like give props where they're due and being the biggest asshole or like covering your own back. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of funny to watch. It's like they're like, oh, so you do know a fucking thing or two, Greg. Good for you. Like I underestimated you. Like they like to be surprised because I mean,
Yeah.
as Logan said to Matt, and he's like, everything's so fucking boring, isn't it? So I think when someone does what you didn't tell them to do or expect them to do, those are fun moments too of the show for sure. I also have the Kendall breakdown confession because I mean, obviously there's been a lot out there about Jeremy Strong's method acting and how the cast feels various ways about it, but I mean, he pulls it out in that scene and just that season, the unraveling of this man. Like he goes from being like, I'll just be dad's robot pet and squash it to like, oh fuck, I can't like get over this horrible thing I've done, and culminates in that scene and is a nice sibling moment, but also just like amazing acting, I think, from him. And then I just have the rest are like silly moments, but I like Greg versus Greenpeace. It's just again going back to this man of principles. It's like, yeah, okay, buddy, like
Oh, it's
you're
so
at
good.
war with, and he's like telling everyone about it. Like that's a normal my inheritance. Like I don't really fuck with Greenpeace. I don't think they're such a good organization. Like it's like really funny and just also like it's just kind of left field for them. But yeah.
Tom's reaction to that is great too. And he's like, I don't know the exact quote, basically like, oh, like, did you have fun riding on the shoulders of the neo fascists or whatever? And Greg was like, just kind of sputters at it. I thought it was so funny.
He's like going after Greenpeace, Greg. Okay. Yeah, all right. Sure. But
Another
yeah.
great Greg and Tom thing for me is them bonding over potential prison time. And then like that guy is giving them advice about like the toilet, and he's like, the toilet, like it's your lover, it's your toilet, it's it's your like your wine cellar, like it's everything. And then he's talking about like tinned mackerel and stuff, and they're like trying to actually take notes. I love that Tom has like a fucking binder full of like federal prisons, and he's like making a pros and cons list throughout the season. It's just so fucking funny.
I mean, listen, his trajectory of kind of getting Logan to trust him by throwing himself on the sword, not having to do it, and then like dropping this little piece of information and changing the game at the end of season
Yeah.
three is fucking incredible. Also, what is his name? Matthew McFadden? Something McFadden, right? He's what, a Brit in real life or an
Yes.
Aussie?
Shocking.
His Tom voice is so iconic. The way he speaks is so fucking funny. And obviously it's something that he created because it's not his real voice, right? So he was on Last Kingdom in the first 5 minutes or something like that.
Oh my
He
God. Wow. You
yeah.
just blew my mind. He is Uhtred.
He
He's daddy.
is.
Whoa. Oh my God.
I've only seen 5 minutes of The Last Kingdom.
That is
Literally.
crazy.
Yeah, so I know that for sure. I don't know how long he lasts, but I knew he was in it. But anyway, I just wanted to shout him out because he created this kind of iconic character and he deserves props for that because it's not his voice and it's a choice he's making, obviously. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
I mean, for me with him, I was season 1. I was like, dude, fuck this guy. Like, he's obviously just like an opportunistic, like using everyone. And then later on at season 3, I was like, all right, I really, really fuck with Tom. He had a great 3 seasons of a journey.
The thing about it, I think me and Al talked about this a little bit. I wish they showed a little bit more of their like business savvy. Like Tom, I wish they were like, yeah, Tom was rising the ranks and that's when he met Shiv or something like
fair.
that. Because how did they meet? And is he actually good at business? I don't know that. Greg's definitely not. Greg was just puking in costumes before he showed up here. But like, first of all, also that's a nightmare of mine. Like, could you imagine puking in a costume that you're in? Either way, death. But yeah, I wish they showed it a little more because when in season 1, when Logan basically says to Shiv when they're off at the therapy thing, she's like, you're settling. He's like a POS, basically, like whatever. He's not good enough for you. I felt bad, but I'm like, I wish that they showed us a little more of like how they met, his business acumen, because all throughout the seasons, Tom keeps saying, well, what about me to Shiv when they're behind closed doors with Logan? What did you negotiate for me? And it's like, negotiate it for yourself, brother. What are you talking about? I kind of don't understand that. But unless he actually is good enough to be a CEO of a company, they don't tell us that. Yeah. So to me, I'm like, he's just like marrying into getting a better job. I don't know. I'm a big Tom girl. I just wish they showed us a little bit more of whether or not he's actually good at business or not.
Well, I think that's kind of the point though with this show, right? Nepotism. Like, are any of them fucking good? Like, yeah, Shiv is smart, but Logan goes through with Raya and whoever, and he's like, here's the pros and cons of each kid and why they could or couldn't do it. But at the end of the day, Roman just came out of fucking nowhere. He had a cushy job in like the media sector, like the entertainment sector from Logan. Tom, I think, got in from Shiv. You know what I mean? I think the whole point is like, you don't actually have to fucking know what you're doing if it's who you know. And when you're part of this family, you can do whatever you want and be untouchable pretty much in a sense. But
yeah, I couldn't tell. I feel like I couldn't fully tell whether Tom's parents were like well off, like if Tom came from money at all. Like they just make fun of him because he's from the Midwest. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're poor. I mean, everyone pretty much is poor to the Roys, but because at some level he has to be in a venue to interact with Shiv.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like getting access to Shiv Roy in some way, you have to have either some level of authority, importance in some realm or industry, or have just like a butt ton of money. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of like, I guess, that it's mysterious. And I guess it kind of contrasts a little bit with Greg. I mean, he kind of immediately latches onto Greg, and I feel like he can smell like a similar type of person as him, of like that Greg. I mean, Greg does it through family, but like finds himself now in this room with all these people, and you got to fight for yours, and you know what I mean? You got to scrap in the mud to try to stay relevant within the family. And I guess Tom maybe sees a little bit of himself in Greg. That's what I like to think.
Those two, man. I fucking can't. It's like when we were ranking characters, I wish I could just put them together because their interactions with each other. But